Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 9.11 and a whole hell of a lot of mods. Okay, well, sort of mentioning some of that. I know that some course of events, when you get the, what is it, Constanza or whatever, that's up here, but this little bit of Bulgaria or Romania given to Bulgaria. Bulgaria gets very friendly, gets a chance to get them in. And then the story goes, really, history is Boris of Bulgaria, I believe it's Boris III, was the king, and the government really didn't, wasn't so thrilled about the Axis. They had been on the losing side in World War I with Germany. And, wasn't such a good thing. Well, at some point, once you get... And early on, they were asked if they wanted to, by the Italians, if they wanted to join in on the attack on Greece. The Italians thought they were going to be, yeah, sure, great, we're with you, but no, they just said no. And I can understand a lot of reasons for that. Not everybody's a power-hungry. Trying to think of the term here. Oh, also, I turned the audio down because I was listening to some of my recent stuff, and I was hearing myself breathe in a lot, so... feedback is fine on that if you want to give that topic, but that not everybody's out to conquer the world. They're out to have a fairly stable government. Now, what should, and I've talked about this before, should a country's boundaries be? And there's all kinds of reasons and justifications: historical, current demographics. Notice I said current demographics. And both of those have very good legitimacy. Sometimes they're conflicting. There's also practical considerations as well as just military, political, and other sort of power plays. And I don't, in fact, begrudge anybody or any nation's, desire to establish reasonable boundaries for itself. And those reasonable boundaries can conflict. And I may like both nations equally well and think that, and really be torn on it, let's go with, again, something not so controversial. Where's the border between Scotland and England? Well, they have sort of got some devolved power in Britain or in Scotland now, but really, where should it be? Should it be this sort of, I guess, Carlisle to Berwick line, or should it be the Hadrian's Wall line, sort of the shortest distance, or Antonine's Wall north of Edinburgh? Where should the borders be? And I know there's even some people that sort of kind of think that there should be a borders region, which is sort of southern Scotland and northern England, but north of the Liverpool, whatnot, but this sort of somewhat nebulous, because they have a shared history of being on a conflicting border with each other. I don't know if that's a good idea, but where should the borders be? And this is something that I'm sort of talking about in the sense, if they're still one country, it's a political border that has certain devolved powers to Scotland that are different than in England. There's a different legal code in Scotland than there is in the rest of England. They have something based more on the Napoleonic laws as opposed to the common laws of Britain. But so they have different legal codes. So, yes, it could affect, well, like an interesting thing, and I don't know how much of a controversy it still is, Now, but back when I was living there, and it's quite some time ago, living there is like almost 6 months, or less than 6 months, I should say. They were on a bit of controversy over paint guns. You know, those various types of guns that shoot round balls of paint. And people like to shoot them at each other. You know, in paint and warfare, at least it was fairly common. Don't know if people are still doing that much today. But that was a bit of a controversy because in Scotland, they figured out, well, you know, you could take this paint gun and drop marbles into it instead of paintballs and shoot them out, and that'll crack your skull if it hits you, you know, within a reasonable distance, 20 feet, 30 feet, something like that. So this is a deadly weapon. So since Scotland has this different legal code, they just banned them, basically, or made them, you got to register them, or I don't know. You know, so I guess if you're some legitimate paintballers park or something like that, you might be able to get them to rent out for people in your you know, playing for the day, but people couldn't individually own these, where you could own them just fine down in England, because England, you would have to pass a law through Parliament to ban them, where that was just the legal code could define it as a deadly weapon and ban it. Mentioning that, they're trying to ban knives in London right now. Thinking, what are people going to use? What are all the cooks, you know, Gordon Ramsay, going to use in his kitchens? Oh, they probably just mean banning carrying knives, because the murder rate in London has shot up, and it's been knife deaths have been shot up, and yes, it's mostly drug gangs. So there's been a lot of, I understand there's been a fair amount of acid attacks that may be otherwise not gang related, but a lot of this is gang related. So probably the average citizenry is not running around feeling that they're going to be stabbed every moment, but still. And the mayor, you know, saying you have no right to carry a knife. You might have heard that click. Just took out my police model Spyderco from my pocket. You know what that is? You can Google it. That I carry with me everywhere. Now, there's no reason and there's no excuse, he says, to ever carry a knife. And he probably, you know, this is a police model. It says police right on it. That's just the model name. It's not who gets to use it. And I have the Zatel handle here, or whatever, the sort of semi-plasticky or whatever. My all stainless steel when I don't carry anymore. It's fairly heavy. Now, you have absolutely no reason to ever carry one of these things, he's saying, because you just have no reason to carry one, because he's banning them. You're going to arrest people. Now, I carried a little Swiss Army pocket knife when I lived in Britain, and that was small enough that it wasn't considered. And it's not a locking blade, but you could theoretically still cut somebody's throat with it if you get them in the right thing, and of course you could stab somebody with it a little bit, but it's not that much of a weapon. Now, he's probably thinking like this Spyderco knife. Well, you know, I ride around in automobiles, drive them actually. Maybe some of you people do too. You know what happens when automobiles? They sometimes get in accidents. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. 2 weeks ago, I was literally within, I would say, 180 seconds, 3 minutes or so, of when a car flipped over in front of me. I didn't see it, but it was right at an intersection. And there was, as I came up to the stop of the intersection, there were only 2 cars in front of me, and people were getting out of their cars still. I ended up not getting out of my car because by the time I could see clearly what was going on, there was like 6 males there, and 6 guys, and they'd gotten, I guess, the one guy out of the car, and he was laying on the ground, and the car had flipped over in it, and there were 2 other smashed up cars in there. So yeah, cars happen in traffic accidents, and that happened literally within minutes of me witnessing it. So I'm talking immediate aftermath. I sort of went around a different direction, and it was a few minutes later that the paramedics first arrived and whatnot. So it took a while to get there. Now they flipped over in a car. And so yeah, cars get in accidents. You know what? you should be wearing your seatbelt if you're riding in a car. Even if you don't drive and you're in an Uber or whatever. I know a lot of taxi cabs, like in London, don't have seatbelts, but a lot of cars have seatbelts. You should have a seatbelt on. You know what happens in an accident with a seatbelt? That seatbelt gets jammed. Not always, not every time, but in an accident that you flip over, it gets jammed. So a paramedic once told me. And sometimes it's, even if you can reach in to a car and hit the button of a seatbelt, it won't release. Won't necessarily release because of the impact forces, and it's supposed to stay there. It will jam at times. So paramedics always carry these Spyderco type knives on them to cut seatbelts, to get somebody out of a car fast. And I'm sort of saying this as had there not been, because I have no real medical training, but I was thinking, oh God, I got to go and see what's going on. There's a car flipped over, and deal with this thing. But realizing, okay, by the time I could actually get up with my car, get close enough to see what was going on, there were 5 or 6 other guys there. They had pulled somebody out, and all I was going to end up doing is standing around, and I did not actually witness any of the accident to, say who did what, give a witness statement. So there was no reason for me to stay around at that point. So I didn't. But do you need a Spyderco knife to get somebody out of the car? Or do you need a Spyderco knife to get yourself out of a car that's upside down and the seatbelt button isn't responding and you want to get out of the car? You might want a knife that can easily cut your seatbelt open. But heaven to forbid that you carry one in the city area of London. I don't know, because there's other, there's the city of Westminster, and there's, various sort of like greater New York. It's not all necessarily in New York City. Here in LA, I'm very used to that, because there's LA County and there's LA City, and I live in LA County, but not LA City. But I'm often in Orange County, which has a bunch of other cities. So the laws change from city to city to state to state, from county to county and city to city, and in my area. So it may change around in different parts of London. But so you may want a knife that you can get open one-handed and save yourself. But the mayor of London thinks you have no legitimate reason to carry a knife on you. Now, of course, many of you know my thoughts on guns, and you Europeans aren't going to agree with me most likely on my thoughts on guns, but this is my sort of thoughts on knives. Why ban an object, a tool? A knife is a tool. Like I started out with this, Gordon Ramsay, and since he's an English chef, wanting to cook with big knives. Maybe he wants to carry his special set of knives from restaurant to restaurant as he does his thing, or some other sort of traveling cook, or maybe other people want to do that. And okay, trust me, those knives can kill somebody very, very easily. What if you're a butcher and you don't just butcher in butcher shops? A lot of times there's an animal that gets injured and they need to put it down, like a cow or something like that. And then you want to butcher it sort of immediately before the meat goes bad to be able to sell it. Even just maybe as, if it isn't very, sort of an old cow, been an old milk cow or something like that. The meat isn't bad, but it's not like something you want to maybe serve to humans. It's not, the quality isn't there. You want to butcher it to sell it out as pet food. Again, I'm not talking finding something dead for a few days, but finding, wanting to put it down. So you have a butcher who travels around. Is he going to need a license to carry his butcher knives with him in his vehicle? As he, yes, I say, but it's London. But maybe he lives in London and he travels around southeast England to do, emergency butchering on things. Or maybe he lives outside of London but has it in his car because he always has his butcher's kit in his car, but he happens to travel in or near London. Does he need a license to carry a knife? My God, people. If you have criminal gangs, identify them, identify who the criminals are, and arrest them for their criminal actions and keep them in jail. That's what you do with this, people. You don't worry about the things like knives and trying to ban those. And you just simply, since London, at least it was known as the CCTV, capital of the world. Just anybody who even brandishes a knife in a threatening manner, arrest them. Find out, was it some old lady who was surrounded by 6 thugs, or was it 6 thugs brandishing knives in front of an old lady? Okay, the old lady you may talk to and find out what was going on and then let her go. If it's the 6 thugs, you put them in jail for threatening somebody. You just do that kind of stuff. And, that kind of thing, and you put them away. You don't deal with it. And there's obviously, I believe in the right of self-defense. Maybe that little old lady was threatening the thugs because she's watching old Monty Python skit, and you'll know what I'm talking about, maybe. That wasn't where I was planning on going, but we were on borders. So, back to Bulgaria. So, once Yugoslavia joins the Axis, don't know that they were really planning on going to war with Britain. That was, I don't think, high on Yugoslavia's list of things to do. But it was sort of, we'll join the Axis. That'll keep Italy off our back. And yeah, sure, maybe when you go to the war with the Soviets or whatnot, we'll send a few divisions to go fight alongside the Great Bolshevik Crusade, or just keep most of our people at home and we'll help defend against invaders in a collective security thing. But then they have a coup, and that coup, I don't know all the details, but it now announces that they're no longer, wanting to be that much part of the Axis. So, okay, so they leave. So Germany is now with a sort of somewhat pro-British coup in mind, though, whether they were going to join the... I don't know whether they were going to join the British and the Allies. That would be sort of stupid if they really thought that. But the Germans decide to react to it. And at this time that they were already sort of looking a little bit, they had already deployed a bunch of troops to Romania. There's actually an earthquake in Romania, and I have an event covering this in Hearts of Iron 4, so that you will see that they are deploying various units here. There's a massive earthquake in Romania during this time, and the German army is, it takes, I think, some minor casualties from the earthquake, but helps with earthquake relief pretty significantly, actually. So the German army is helping with that. I think that was right around winter 40. So, right around this time, maybe, or 41, or there's the earthquake. Again, when I have it in an event, it's all solid and history's down on. I'm just trying to remember it. I'm a bit mushy on that. But so they already had a fair number of troops sort of getting ready for Barbarossa and whatnot. So they decide, they were already sort of thinking that they may need to bail out Italy. Not so much that Italy is going to lose in Greece, but that Britain is starting to seriously put units in there. And those units might be able to push Italy out of, in combination with the Greeks, out of Albania. And they couldn't stand for that. So Germany's now coming into this. This is no longer Italy asking Bulgaria to help beat up on Greece. This is now Germany coming in and dealing with this. Well, at this point, basically, Bulgaria is realizing there's not a real practical way to say no to the Germans. They're coming through. And to really sort of go no to them almost means that you're going yes to the Allies. So they decide to come in. Now, they end up, as showing here, taking a big chunk of former Yugoslavia, today's sort of Macedonia, or the province formerly known as Macedonia. I sort of have to kind of agree with the Greeks here, and we may have some Macedonian state viewers here. These people that call themselves Macedonians up here don't seem to be the old Macedonian people, culturally. Again, we've talked about genetic tests and races and whatever else, and I have no idea what the genetics of these people are. I don't even know if they know, if they've done a good study. But the sort of Greek Macedonians speak Greek. These people speak a Slavic language. So, again, that language, like all the Britons, shall we say, that speak English in England, you know, they're still Britons genetically, but culturally they're Anglo-Saxons. So I don't know what these people are genetically, but they don't seem to be the Macedonians of old, the sort of Macedonian Greek-speaking type peoples here. So I sort of agree with that. But this sort of becomes, is given over to Bulgaria. But Bulgaria really wants to get actually back, because I do believe at one time they had maybe also this province here, or whatever, it may be somewhat ill-defined. You know, not that the borders were ill-defined, but just where the province line. They want to get back a little bit of the Aegean coastline. I think, well, I mean, who doesn't love coastlines? And the Aegean looks pretty damn good. But I think it's to get a port also down here, to not have to come through Turkic territories for trade reasons. So they really want to get this. This is something that the Bulgarians want back. So they join the Axis and get this territory. Now, so what we're going to do here is, I wrote this down before, the event number. There is an event that once Germany goes to war with the Soviet Union, sometime in 1941, Bulgaria will join the Axis. I'm going to fire it now, which will keep it from firing later. So, Bulgaria wants to join the Axis. Bulgarian government under King Boris wishes to sign the Tripartite Pact, whereby becoming a member of the Axis. After Hitler assured the Bulgarians of large territorial returns, see, they've already got all except for what historically they got of these three little things here. In Hearts of Iron 4 map, that's just a one province thing. After Hitler assured the country was willing to fight for German hegemony over Europe and the Soviet Union. I actually think the Bulgarians, if I remember correctly, never did go to war with the Soviet Union. That is, they went to war with the British, the Western powers, you know, Greece and Yugoslavia and the Western powers. But I don't think they actually ever did go to war against the Soviets. So we can welcome them to the Axis or not. We will do so. Now, you may wonder why I wanted to do this, other than because historical reasons, or wouldn't it be nice to get somebody else in? Well, the main reason I wanted to do this now, not wait for it, is I want all of the Romanians to, like, not worry about even at all their Bulgarian border. And I did sort of remove some of the checks. This still may change provincial territories. They're getting ready for a naval invasion someday down into here, probably. But you can see this guy here. Look at the speed on it. 8.8 under these current conditions. So they move really fast. I made that to be a fast-moving unit. And just begin to sort of show what I did is some testing. You can look here and see the transport unit there is the slowest unit. So what I did do, and I can do this again here, just to show you a little education here. Now, you can see it's 8. It's faster, but it slows down. See how it slows down when it's actually moving over the terrain. When it's just sitting there, and in sort of absolute terms, it's faster. Add the transport unit to it. It's slower in absolute terms, but it moves faster. And that's because it's sort of a weird metric. I don't quite understand the math of it all. But this unit has a bunch of speed bonuses over different types of terrain. You know, so plains movements, it's 210. So that averaged out to some of these other speeds and bonuses is what makes it move at the improved speeds. So just sitting here, it might seem like it's slower, and if you're not actually moving, it sort of shows up as being slower because nothing goes faster than the slowest movement or unit. But once it starts adding in the terrain variances, that's just to keep in mind what supply or truck units or wagon units or camel units you might want to attach to other units. Just sort of keep some of that in mind. I know we've not gotten very far for a start of an episode, 20 some minutes into it. We are sending reinforcements. And they're going up to here. Got a little bit of an escort, just a little bit of padding when I get them out of their attack range somewhat. And yes, partisan units will be a distraction too. You come over here. To the Romanians, but and we're pounding these guys down here along with their armor. And I've also moved because of, again, sort of gain problems here I'm seeing, I think, is supplies not flowing well. So we're going to air supply into there. Major victory. Where did we have a major victory? Oh, Nazareth. Okay. Now, you guys are about done for it, so you retreat there, Rommel. The Italians won't come into the German territory for some reason, and I don't know why I'm not expanding the Italian territory as I move, because I think I may have seen some of that before. You stop, you get some reorganization, but oh, you are no longer attacking or supporting an attack either, okay. If I'm doing something obscure and wrong, I don't know, please tell me with some of these things, but I don't know. Here I don't mind because I do sort of want to grab this territory here. He's going to go around and Beersheba and try to cut off these forces as these guys push down from up top here. And we've now got more forces here. Oh, get onto that. There we go. And we can see here how much, just attaching it goes from 91 to 96.7 or whatever organization level. So that is why you want to attach these things to higher command and why the command levels do matter. Okay, torpedo loading system has improved technology. Okay. Okay, so it's a one and done, so we don't need to worry about that anymore. We got it, it improves, that's good. Okay, armor unit training advanced, that is good. Well, very likely we'll be back to, oh, we also have recon unit up at 41. Yeah, because that improves all attack movement ratings. Got all those are, I'm still going to push ahead on those 42 technologies. Mentioning that, yeah, we're going to do that, just manpower issues. Now, I recently had a post, maybe a few days ago, asking how I had this level of manpower because the person was running out of manpower by 1940. And my basic answer to him was, watch the series, because there isn't just like one simple thing, oh, we'll do X and you'll have more manpower. Well, obviously there's a lot of little things that you can do by what manpower focuses you do at the beginnings of each year, what do you focus on the Wehrmacht or the industrial focuses? Those affect manpower and things like that. So various things you can do to affect your manpower levels, but there is no one like do this or don't do that or whatever that I can point to. I know that may not be overly helpful, but just the one, oh yeah, this one here. So you know, I guess the long answer is the short long answer is watch the series and you'll find out what I do. I guess the next lowest number is 86. There we go, and Martinique. There we go. Okay, mostly sending these guys to the east. That may be a mistake. We may face some British counter invasions. Now we have one other here. No, it's up here. Yeah, that's right. Yes, we see you're crossing over there. Bulgaria. Oh, you may have energy, of course. Now we're taking out some of these guys. Oh, well, you support that attack. There we go. See how that changed, getting a real proper unit in there. These guys were fighting across the river, even though they were just fighting partisans. Okay, you support that attack. Rommel, you keep reorganizing. Yes, yes, yes. Let them take it. You want to move there? Well, we're going to flank around you. Especially since we're using Fantomas. Not so fast because they have those heavy AAs. 88s from Spain. Now we'll do the hotel. Where is the 3rd Panzer Division? Oh, did I hit? Oh well, I hit the wrong thing, didn't I? Okay. The flotilla, there we go. I think that's in the production queue. Yeah, per suggestion, I did decide to add these two to add to those Stug Abteilung. Give them a little bit more sustainability. Okay, yeah, 3rd Panzer. See, what I'm sort of worried about is, see, there's the 3rd Panzer. Do I really want to refit that now? No. You want to refit it, but not right now. Okay, sure, Plunk Doctrine. So we just did the basing. Well, we can do armored engineers. That'd be a hell of a thing. Yeah, let's look here briefly. Yeah, nothing that we need to add to doing it, but we'll get the armored engineers done. And submarine crew training as well. Cool. Let's down here. Yeah, let's abandon this for the moment, I think. And okay, well, it was some damage control. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to do a 43 tech. So let's come back to straight naval here. Hell, we're going to be building that, but that's a fairly minor issue, though. We are going to get that eventually. And carrier crew training. Yeah, let's do this. Just so we don't lose it. Oh, and TAC pilot training as well. We don't lose our carrier due to lack of well-trained crew. Yeah, pilot training. Now, don't really want to know too much details, but I do catch a little bit, and I guess there's some sort of bug. At some point in 44, Revolverheld has some air bombing missions that wreck the infra levels, I guess, in Germany. And I think the events, and well, a couple of things here. The events were firing way more than he intended, more often. And not sure why. He was going to look at the code. And he's definitely committed to me because I'm playing a newer version, a still unreleased beta version, that he'll help me fix things if they start to go too wrong. Obviously, it might mean going back a little ways in the play, whether I show you guys or not, but go back and replay some to get it right. But one of my thoughts was, because, hey, wouldn't it be great if the Allies, particularly Americans, just built enough strategic bombers and started bombing Germany? Well, they don't, and even if they build enough, they don't bomb Germany effectively. So, he's compensating for that. I totally understand that. My thought is tie some of the level, how much, into some technologies, because right now this is almost useless. The reason I say that is not that the jets aren't good, not that the jets won't fight well, they do. But if you really push through these and focus much more on, these fighters, you'll end up with jets or near jets anyways. So spending all the time on this gets you something. Yes, it does. It really does. But it doesn't get you, in my opinion at least, as good a war winner as it would have been. And so my thought is to either have an event that fires that then sets a flag or something that stops the bombing or reduces the frequency or the level of the bombing, would be to research enough of the jet fighter levels or something like that to make it really worthwhile researching some of this as a way of dealing with. Just my thought. Okay, yeah, with you guys supporting, you're gonna do much better. Okay, good. Yeah, you're fighting down here, we're good. And have one against them. They're still coming. And air landing equipment. That is one infantry and equipment, one and done. But it opens up this. Yes, let's do this. You support that attack. I know you guys are near exhausted as well, but hey, there we go. See, that made it win. We want to get down here to help these Italians out. Free up some capabilities. Okay, combined arms for artillery. Great. Gun turrets, that looks nice. Are we still just on the 3rd Panzer, which is busily fighting in North Africa right this very moment. Okay, you guys come down here, I guess. Oh, come on, get them fuel. Oh, well, you get out of here because you're eating fuel. Yeah, these guys, yeah, they made it safely if they're good. And are sort of repairing or whatever you want to call it. I don't want to be blitzing to that canal, but I need the Italians to help fight these British if we're going to push that way. Okay, you come through Tel Aviv down that way. And now that we got rid of those fleets, they now have enough fuel. These keep moving. Yeah. That doesn't matter. We're going to cut you off. You may think you cut me off, but I got air supply if needed. And reinforcements coming. Yes, you take that back. There's really no other action for us. And as that sort of fuel situation here shows, we don't want to just simply flood in more units. So, artillery unit command and control. Those are all up to 41, or should be starting research now, but still just February. Well, I don't know because of the sort of lock if we're going to be doing too much more on our bombers for research levels, but let's come in here and give these guys a little more support. We're going to have all those big transports or gigants, and we want them reasonably well protected. Okay, well, you guys come fight your way through here, Dad. No, didn't do that fast enough. Okay, well, whatever. Okay, these guys, yeah. You're mobilizing, cool. Stay out of the war, Bulgaria. At least for now. As we can already see, the Romanians have completely abandoned their Bulgarian border, which just means that there'll be more units to deal with any war with the Soviets, because that's the only real thing that, or, nope, this changed countries, did it? That was part of Serbia, but the Hungarians took that. Yeah, okay, attack with your mixed support brigade. You're not going to do it because we weren't exhausted when we stopped attacking. Okay, defensive positions. Bomb loads, okay, those are all looking pretty good. Jet techs, we can do that. But let's look at something more immediate. Useful. Okay, well. Now let's do this. We haven't built any yet, but that's good to do it now before we start building, so they'll be as up-to-date technology-wise as possible. Okay, shift the fuel around a little bit. Coast of Egypt. Okay, it looks like ours are gonna win at least. We're waiting. Okay, these guys need supply now today, so supply them now today. And these guys are going after the Australian down there. Good. Railroad, that's going to eat into our ICs even more, though it's going to help also. Yeah, let's not be too foolish. Let's keep going with some of this stuff. Start with the longer research ones, get those done. And like I said here, that will help. And regiment motorized Hermann Goering. Yes, we'll take that. Keep Goering happy. So that removes the headquarters unit. Let's take a quick look. Just recently been burned with yeah, that can all go. Oh, maybe we'll keep the trucks, maybe not. Nope. Is that in the production queue? Yep. Let's move it up top. More than just that. Okay, well, not that we're not going to win this. I think we would. But let's pound them with some air power. Which is also eating up our fuel as well, too. But you guys come this way to help out them. Yeah, so even though we had some cost to get these things done now, we are going to just a 0.2% better for IC efficiency and as well as supply throughput, but it all adds up. And air defense networks hits our manpower, of course, and supplies, but helps out a lot. Is that under? What? Oh, probably under artillery. Actually, where am I looking there? I don't know. Yes, it is under artillery, and we will stop that for now. Okay, forward, and then support attacks. Support attacks, if there's going to be any more, I don't know. Britain historically was really worried about just this thing happening. It's why they went into Vichy France controlled Syria. I think I mentioned this earlier, but and invaded that too specifically. Okay, well now we have a port. So, oh, it's probably sending supplies already because we have it on auto, don't we? Yes, good. So we are sending supplies there. Ah, Romania. What do you want? We give them fuel for money. Okay. You want some fuel. We've got a lot still. We may use it up later, but we still have a lot now. Yeah, get ready to fight the Turk. And they're, I think, needing to occupy out. Well, no, they're not. Do they have cores here? I guess they do. And assault concentration has advanced. That's good. Down here, I believe. Yes. So we want to. If that. How are we doing for our command technologies here? Or tactics? Yeah, let's do this. Push ahead a bit. And fuselage aerodynamics, which is too far ahead, and we'll shift that. Watching Benjamin Magnus play the other day a little bit. He does really well, both, and I mean that both as in doing entertaining Let's Plays, as well as playing well. He definitely has different styles than me. I noticed that he likes to sort of stack up, if you will, technologies or in doctrines and whatnot. Yeah, let's stick these guys here. And no, not von Hippel. That's my von Hippel. Say that because there's also a Black Ice von Hippel tier 2. That looks like a good guy, Corinth. He may have actually, he was historically one of the commanders of the Hermann Division. Okay. You come here. We're going to see if we can give this to you. We're going to rebuild this. I don't know. Guderian's going to stay in charge of it, but we're trying to rebuild that as a type of HQ. Combat one. Well, let's start you out up here. A lot of units there already. Okay. to attach you to. Sort of why I'm doing it up here. Easy to find the bomber section there. Fleet destroyer. We're going to put you in what's going to be one of our many seaplane units. Let's see. Here we go. So yeah, Benjamin Magnus does well. I'm going to rebuild this as a combat HQ, a good one. You come down here to help. Okay, fine. Convoy, too powerful. You're not getting enough supplies. We're coming. Oh, stop. Keep moving forward, keep moving forward. Okay, rare materials. Refining techniques have advanced, which allows high density alloys, anti-tank, metallurgy for armor, and advanced resource substitution industry. So that is a critical, as well as simply more rare materials. So advanced substitution, we could do that. 41. We will be doing that, but we're going to see if there's other ones that we're going to push first. That's a 42, so we're not going to push that first. We very well may be doing that soon, but not first of these things. And now here, high density, close this, high density alloys, and that's back at 40, so we want to start that research now. So that's the one we're starting with. Get that, which will definitely help our penetration, I do believe. So, and direct fire unit, well, that's probably something that will shift out. Oh, no, that wouldn't be good. It broke there. You need the optical sensor out. That probably will help a little bit, hopefully. Okay, we've got that. So now let's come back up here and do advanced resource substitution. Get that done. Wing aerodynamics, good. I think there may have been another command. No, okay, that we could do without. These are a little bit penalties, but not massive penalties. Yeah, let's do that. We're hitting those guys in the flank that are attacking Bonthoma, and that stops Bonthoma, so attack on Bonthoma, and he's going to repair the troops. Well, we're not going to need to worry about that. Oh, they're pushing back, a little bit of retreating, whatever. Air Force HQs, great. I'm noticing that I'm doing these less than before, but I need to keep them up. Just because we're getting so many great HQs. I do take them as great from revolverheld. They're really good HQs as well as being historical HQs. Okay. Yeah, we'll take this. So we're forming Luftflotte 5, as well as a bunch of Fliegerkorps, 6, 7, and 9, if I'm reading those Roman numerals right. As you know, I gotta think about those. Okay, well, these are really mostly for immersion at this point, but I don't know what I'm going to do with all of these. Oh, they make sense from a actual historical viewpoint. Because you would want the ground units to better organize up, you know, the air. And I don't know if you guys really might want to check out my recent Hearts of Iron 4 series. Let's Play. I know most of you, and I agree with most of you, that right now Hearts of Iron 4 isn't there yet. But they have really neat things that now you can go to a core command, basically, and attach to that core air units directly. So that, say, if you wanted to attach to the Afrikakorps, you attach the air unit, and the air units will, those like bombers or fighters, will follow that around and will shift to the air zones in which they're operating. So if they, you know, obviously they, like, some of the problems with them is, you know, they have the god-awful big air zones. For a while it was like all of North Africa, one zone. What? Get terrible coverage, as opposed to good coverage here, but no coverage over here. They're getting better on that. Again, there's reasons that we're still playing this game, and I'm not trying to convince you to move over there, but just that the stuff that they are working on is really great, really cool, in that you can now pick an area, a region, whatever, or, you know, a core, or whatever you want to call it, and attach air directly to it that will support those units and shift around as needed. So that's really cool. And yes, you can do the same here. That's sort of what the idea that you can attach them to air units is you can attach some air that will then shift to here. But it's coming along. Hearts of Iron 4 is coming along, and I completely agree with all of your disappointments in it, because you were sort of kind of thinking, and I sort of kind of was thinking, until I got my hands on it. But Hearts of Iron 4 was going to be sort of Hearts of Iron 3 improved, if you will. All the improvements might not have been the ones you wanted, but they would have been improvements. Come on, come on, get there, get there, get there, get there. Oh, well, now he's won. Oh, well, they were going to support the attack. These guys at least were. Well, let's run over these guys and grab this oil out here. And then come back around here, I guess. Hopefully these guys will be able to take this last British or Canadian division. Okay, support, no, support attack, support attack. Whenever you feel like attacking it, you have some support. So they're coming in to help defend. Sure. Vichy France, you can have some energy. These guys are getting some experience, that's good. Well, let's shift these guys to here. These guys to here. And attack ground crew train, that's sort of what made me think about it. And naval ground crew. naval air ground crew or whatever, but yeah. No, come on. I want the big transports. Where are they? I love these guys. So useful because supplies right there. Von Thoma supplies. Now they have some supplies. Not a lot, but some. Okay, infantry unit training. What's the other one? Oh, desert unit training. Good, because we're operating out in the desert. And we're going to let that continue. For whatever units that'll help. Light infantry, colonial light infantry, elite light infantry battalions, Anzac, light armor. We have some of those. Definitely. Currently operating. SS Panzer, light SS Panzers. Infantry tank, well, we don't have any of those. Light armored battalion, well, I don't know that we have any of those. Cavalry reconnaissance, we got those, I think. Maybe not. AC armored cars, we definitely have. Motorized DAC organization. Don't know if we have any of the DAC units yet. Airborne unit training. Yeah, let's get those guys going. Okay, we lost some transport. So what we're going to do here is we shifted a bunch of our air to escort our transports to and from Syria. Let's give some back. Go after these guys. Change it. Yeah, that's what I was sort of waiting for. Yeah, guys, just keep pushing. Go to Gaza. We are racing for the canal. You're slowly moving. Oh, you know, you should be moving there now. Now you are. Supporting the attack for the Italians. The reason I haven't put Rommel in charge any more than he is because I'm just waiting for the events that will put him in charge, which will be happening sometime. And some of that's been delayed by stopping and starting the game here. Okay, and mentioning that, we're going to end this episode. I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank you for liking the videos, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to me. Love to see you around here more often. And of course, please post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas, correction. Love hearing from you. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.